It was very awkward for me. I really didn't understand. Our funk. I'm like, look at her. You have to accept. Yeah, they want to get famous. I'm like, why? Ting, 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 ting. If you have to be in touch with reality, is this real life? Okay, why? Nonsensical contents on social media. Oh gosh. Hait gid akong dila. Like, no, we're gonna have the best. I'm not gonna reveal my real age. Yo, magyana lang. I never thought I would. They're scared to be judged.
Maayong adlaw everyone and mga cat-cats, Philippines and the universe. Welcome to my playground. This one is your cat-cat warrior, your cat-cat enemy number 1. Our episode for today, makauban nato as playmate. He is one of the most sought after DJs in the City of CDO, an event host, language and communication skills trainer, and he is a family man. And today, he is taking a big leap. Mauna ang atong hisgut-hisgutan ug uban pa. Di na nato patugayon everyone and mga cat-cats. Let us all welcome to our playground, the phenomenal name on airwaves and in all over the place, the man of the hour, Alpha!
Finally, we have with us for today's episode of Take One, Idol, one of the icons FM radio industry.
We had to really reschedule a lot, so sorry. Finally, yes! Perfect timing sa kaayo.
What's up?
I'm doing good. Busy lately with a lot of projects, with a lot of things that we have in store, especially with the recent company that I'm working with. Nasad ko'y mga hosting site. So I still do hosting for weddings and for different events. And then of course, the family. I always have to put the time with the family as well. Family, yes. Always.
How does it feel? You're still in the game.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, to think of it, it makes me feel old. Number one, parang tigulang naman siguro kay If I think back to like sa times bitaw nga when I first started out in radio or when I first started out in hosting events, that was like I was in my early 20s, which I'm not gonna reveal my real age, but
fresh pa kayo.
Yeah, that was like a few years ago. 5 years ago. How I wish. Yeah, when I think about it, pag sumit na ako before, everything was just really brand new to me. Where Cagayan was not as big as it is now, as opposed to when I first started out, like everybody knew everybody.
Gamay pa man siya.
Gamay pa man ang community sa Cagayan. So it wasn't as kanang murag grandiose as how it is nowadays. It was just very humbling for me to be part of a certain radio station, which was at that point one of the most popular stations in Cagayan, which is Sandy 101.
So you already started as Sandy?
Yeah, I started at Sandy. My main purpose of going to Sandy at that time, I was in college. I think it was second year in Xavier University. And then we heard that Sandy was having an event at Light Adventure, and then they were looking for performers. At that time, I had a little rap group, hip hop man ko sa una.
So you dance also?
No, I don't really dance. More on kuan gyud. Yo, magyana lang. We had a little rap group in Xavier. We tried to audition at Sandy.
Undergo audition?
Yeah, nag-audition gid ko. After we auditioned, Sergeant Stan, at that time, he said, Bay, can you stay for a while? So I'm thinking, ano ako man? And Stan was like, I really like how you perform. I like the way you talk. I like the way you deliver. I like the. Have you ever considered, being a DJ? I go, wow, murag dream job ang tanako na.
Prior to that, wala kay inkling about becoming a DJ because at that time, popular na kayo mga FM radio stations.
Wala, at that time, I never thought I would be on air because bago pa man ko niabot dito sa Pilipinas. I originally came from Vancouver, Canada, and then
So you were raised there?
Yeah. I spent around 15 to 16 years. It was basically my life in Canada. So when we came down here, one of the many purposes that we came down here is because I wasn't exactly the perfect son. Bugoy kay Kozona.
Bugoy nga, santo.
Bugoy nga! Let's just say that everything that I would do would disappoint my parents, especially my mom, because when we were still in Vancouver, high profile man kaayo akong mom in terms of real estate. She was
na culture shock ka pagbalik mo dito.
kind of. We visited every so often when I was young, but it was that part.
Stay for good.
That part where we stayed for good. That was something for me na murag I really needed to accept and adjust to. But it was funny that I didn't really see it happen because I think my parents premeditated their plan on having me here because ang ilang giingon was magbakasyon sa ata. So I'm thinking, okay, mga 1 month, 2 months, balik na dayon mi dito sa Canada. But it so happened that the 1 month, 2 months ended up my whole life na dayon here because they felt like I really needed to change my environment. In Canada at that point, when you're like 14, 15, you get really influenced by the people around you. At that time, uso man ang mga gangster kana mga yan. So I guess that's what my parents they decided that here na lang sa Pilipinas. Although, when we were in Canada, all of my friends, all of my classmates are Filipinos, right? So I usually did hang out with most Filipinos. Wala ginamo gi kana murag gi-adapt. It's a Filipino Canadian type of culture siguro. When we came here, started working at Jollibee. I had my first job. I was 16 years old. I had my first job at Jollibee as a marketing officer. So at 16. Kay maayo man daw ko mag-ana. So it was a struggle for me as well because of the fact that I didn't know how to speak Bisaya. I didn't know how to speak Tagalog. I was purely English, and this was Cebu. Out of all places.
So when you came back here, dili pa sa CDO, sa Cebu pa mo?
Cebu, diretso mi sa Cebu because my dad is from Cebu.
Okay.
Yeah. Although at 16, you're not really mature enough to know what to do.
Virgin
Be? Sa Dalungan.
Basta kay fresh pa kayo.
I was fresh. Yeah, super fresh. Kanang pachuy-chuy pag-aayo, yung ano bitaw.
Why Jollibee? Why you choose Jollibee then?
It wasn't my choice. It was my auntie who was the branch manager, and she said, "Pang summer job na lang, work here." So it was an easy job at first because all you really needed to do was talk to people, address the events, and then after that, I had quite a few job experiences in Cebu, from Jollibee to working to Petron, as in nagasboy gid ko so na.
Fast forward, idol. Why then you came up with the name R-Funk? Did you coin that name or somebody gave that?
Actually, it wasn't me who came up with that name.
Nasa backstory ka na siya na name?
It's actually no. It's ko lang yun na siya. Simple na kaayo because when I started out at Sandy, we were thinking, like Sergeant Stan was thinking, what should we call you? Ano ba? Because my real name is kind of long. Ngalan sa presidente, Rodrigo. That's my real name, right? So what happened was, Stan was thinking, oh, we can't call you like that on air because it's too long. He cut the first letter from my first name, R. And then at that time, hip-hop man gid kay ko, funky pa kaayo na dating, spike hair and all, murag mofat. So that was the era of mofats, kana mga yan, mga Hanson. So ano gid siya na mofats kay kag dating. Ano siya R-Funk. So that's how it came up. He just said, we'll call you R-Funk from now on. At first, it was very awkward for me. I really didn't understand, the methods of branding. I eventually, stuck to the name. I don't think, as of now, I don't think that anybody knows me aside from R-Funk.
Exactly. When was the time na na-feeling mo nga, wow, my name, but this career of mine is picking up.
Siguro when it was like on my second year na ako sa Sandy is when I started getting invitations to do appearances sa mga parties, kanang kuan lang, and then they would pay me siguro. At that time it was like
Mga corporate events as well.
mga corporate events, kanang mga kuan lang, just to be there. It was at that time where people were like starting to recognize me, and then I was like feeling like, okay, medyo ilhan nako. At that breaking point where I felt medyo unpopular ko is that when we were, I was with Stan, and we were at Gaisano, and we were buying something. Behind me, someone saying, like a group of people were like, "Ala si Arfunk, Arfunk." I'm like, "Ano? Sabi sila?" It dawned on me na, okay, people are starting to know me. At first, yeah. Eventually, it became very normal na dahil. But I think I've always wanted to be, known.
To be in the spotlight.
Yeah, siguro.
You're extrovert.
Very extrovert. I mean, I speak my mind. I really talk when I can. I owe it all to my mom and son, because when I was a kid, bata pa lang daan, my mom would always try to influence me to talk out loud, to make sure that
speak your mind.
Yeah, to always speak my mind.
You're extrovert. What is like kanang being alone? Since you're an extrovert personality.
There are two types of situations, especially in my life, siguro, no? Because when I was with Sandy, that's the time like a lot of people were always paying attention to me. A lot of people were always around me. It was like I had different groups of friends from different areas, different places, and I felt more alive at that time when I had people with me. But then big circles good. When you go home na ikaw isa, and then that's when you realize like I miss my parents at that time because they weren't here. Wala pa sila nakauli.
So I
was here alone. Yeah.
Without any siblings.
I'm the only child.
Oh, how was it?
So it felt kuansad. At times it felt sad. It felt very lonely. Times where I felt like it got me questioning. Maybe the only times that people want to be with me is because they want to be seen with me, or they want to interact, and so on and so forth. And then when I have those moments where I need them, sometimes they're not there. It feels like it was a one-sided relationship with some of the people that I used to hang out with.
Did you have any trust issues with people then?
No.
Never.
No.
That idea na you thought that people would just want to be around with
that alone, it comes to that point. I mean, especially when, I guess this goes out for all those people that have been in the spotlight once or twice in their life, is that they feel like, are you only with me because I established a name, or are you only with me because there is no trust, but there is the doubt of, are you a true friend, or are you just someone there just to be seen with me? The person that's gonna be behind my back if I have certain problems or difficulties, or are you just gonna disappear? But trust issues, wala man siguro ko'y trust issues. Ako man siguro, I'm the type of person, Manggod, is that if I have a friend, or if I have a group of friends, I always want to be the person to make everyone happy.
Sunshine.
Right? So yeah, the sunshine on that plateau of friends. But it even comes to the point where in order to make you happy, it comes on my expense. So it's not like just monetary expense, but also at the expense bitana, I would have to sacrifice my time, I would have to sacrifice sometimes I've had to sacrifice the way I act. The reality of who I wasn't really fully shown, because sometimes you have to pretend. And I have to admit, there were times where I had to pretend to be a certain person just to entertain people, or just to make sure that these people stick with me. Ano ba?
Top of the game kinda. There were times that you really have to shield your own persona just to entertain people. Was it hard?
Hard in a way that it made me feel confused as to who my personality was. Exactly, right? So at that time, because people have a certain level of expectations, when they say R-Funk, or if they say Chloe Phoenix, or if they say Sergeant Stan, they think, okay, sila, mga kuan gini sila, they're already at the top of their game. So, this is how they talk, but they don't really know who you are. And sometimes you can't really share that to these people, because you would feel like, oh, you might judge me.
So would you say, being famous, those are the advantages.
I wouldn't consider myself to be famous. So I
are.
but I would consider myself to have established a certain name, establish a certain personality. It came to that point as well. Sako set aside is that when I was siguro at the certain peak of my career, I felt like, well, again, do I have to continue acting like this, or I started believing that I was like this, like I was like this alter ego of who I really was.
What would you regret why you chose to be on the radio?
Oh no,
In this industry?
no, of course not. I loved it.
What were the advantages?
Food, free food, a lot of free food, a lot of free stuff. My metabolism at that time was still pas pa. Pero yeah, grabe. I mean, the things that you go through at that time, I'm good. If you compare it to nowadays, DJs at that time were the social media influencers now. Kung social media influencer ka ron, muna ang DJ, muna ang anagit ka, murag highlight nimo. So you get everything for free. I mean, you get a lot of attention for free. You get free food. You get free overnight accommodations. You get everything.
That leads me to my next question.
Okay.
Speaking of social media, during your time, you were really influencers. Sa new landscape pa dun sa social media,
Yeah.
you are popular. Pero dili inyo gina-invite. You were not that self-proclaimed.
Yes.
Why is it now there are a lot of people on social media who's got a lot of followers and they would really proclaim that they are influencers as it's self-proclaimed literally. What's your take on that?
Well, my take on that is that hey, I have nothing against any social influencers. I know quite a few. Sa ako lang aside is that people nowadays have a wider spectrum, a wider and broader audience. It makes them feel instant celebrity. Na, you know, if you have so many views or if you have so many shares or so many clicks on your video, feeling that nimo instant celebrity. And that's the kind of thing that we before were taught, that if you're going to be on radio, you know, first thing that we were taught was people are going to know you. At that time, they would always say, keep your feet and on the ground. Okay, don't go above. You're representing the name. You're representing the brand. You're the image. So keep your stuff below belt, right? Because you don't want to feel, or you don't want to have that feeling that na grabe super sikat na lugar ko. Nowadays, I don't know about these social influencers, but I don't think that they have that guidance. It's like someone to say to them, uy bay, kung masikat ka ha, ayaw pagkuan gyud. Ana, they don't have that because they do it themselves eh. Because that's what everybody wants to do. They want to get famous. Famous sometimes in the wrong way, right? For the wrong purpose.
Well, that makes sense.
There are times where I can say, wow, I just watched a 30-second video on Reels and it had no sense whatsoever, but yet it's like 1.6 million views,
And they get empowered.
right? I'm like, why?
Diba?
There's no umph to it. There's no certain content that can really start thinking or make your brain think. It's just
Saan mo makataktak pa mga sa iyong IQ?
yeah, that's sad nowadays because I feel like there's not enough intellectual content out there to help the brain develop.
Guidance.
Yes, and guidance, because nowadays you're looking at TikTok. I have nothing against TikTok, ha? Ako galing ka TikTok, ting 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 ting. Ako lang is that, yeah, I mean, especially with my kids, if I'm gonna say, okay, if you're gonna do TikTok, okay, you can dance because that's nice. You can sing because that's nice. That's talent, right? But don't go to the point where you're gonna be influenced by some stupidity that you see on TikTok and then make that a thing and say, oh, this is reality. No, it's not reality. No, it's not reality.
As possible, you have to be in touch with reality, no matter
Kayo, yun. You have to be in touch with reality because you have to make sure that everything that you do on the screen has a sense and purpose. But if it's not going to have a sense and purpose, then might as well not do it.
Why are a lot of people nowadays are not in touch with reality?
That is a hard question. Maybe because of all of the social influence, all of the social media influence, not the influencers, the influence itself.
It equalizes everything.
It does. With all of the variety of the things that are going out on Facebook or on the internet or on YouTube or on TikTok or whatever, it makes people confused. Like, oh, is this real life? Should I follow this because everybody else is? They're not anymore in a singularity type of state of mind.
Well, sa radio sa una, di ba? But not this large sa karon.
Oh, sa radio sa una, well, we weren't really exposed to large scale. We didn't know about who follows us.
And you were not conscious.
Right, we weren't conscious. All we knew that, okay, we could be heard in Osamis, we could be heard in Camiguin. So I'm like, okay, fine, that's cool, right? But it doesn't come to the point where like, oh wow, we got 1.6 million listeners in Camiguin, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't make me feel, nowadays it's like, you know, it's about people saying, hey guys, subscribe so we can have 2.5 million views or 2.5 million subscribers. Like, oh, okay, why? That's only gonna get you rich because you're the one who's monetizing out of that, right? So to the people that are watching, you are making your money because they're subscribing for your monetization.
So how do you find this generation today?
Back in the day, perfect song that could really, I would really like to put into place would be from Whitney Houston na kanta na, I believe the children are our future. That line right there is totally irrelevant to now because I really don't know where our future is going to be if we're going to be consistently and constantly following these nonsensical contents on social media.
I really agree with you.
I might sound old.
We are in agreement because we both are parents. So how do you regulate all these things that's happening around sa iyong kids? The social media factor.
When I was young, and I always told myself, if I'm gonna have kids, I want to be the cool dad. You know, I don't want to be the strict dad. I don't want to be the dad that makes mabadlong all the time. But you know what? It's so different once you have kids because everything turns around and then you start realizing, Modi ay, that's why my parents were like that when I was a kid. So kung ikaw, bugoy ka when you were a kid, times 1 million ang imong kids na hinoon. Ako said, it makes me realize, when I look back at my childhood, it makes me realize like I was very unfair to my parents back in the day because I would always, you know, ask for this. I would always, especially, I'm the only kid. I'm the only child. So although I can't say that I'm the perfect parent, I mean, who is? You know, we have those moments where we get so burnt out that, you know, everything just explodes. You know, with my kids, it's a whole variety of personalities, especially now because we have a blended family. What I mean by blended family is that me and my fiance, she has a child from her past, I have a child from my past, and then we have a child together.
It's amazing.
There's a lot of, you know, a lot of things to consider, a lot of dynamics that you have to put into consideration as well, and a lot of thoughts.
And a lot to be broad-minded.
Super broad-minded, super patient. It's all about just learning from each other each and every day. It does. I'm just glad that both I and my fiance is working together on that. Yes. There are times that there's going to be hardships and there are times there's going to be mga bumps on the road. Bumps naman at sa.
As a father, what are those childhood experiences that you've had? Now, as much as possible, if you had your way, yun yung gusto mo agihan siguro. What were those? Did you have traumatic experiences? Or?
Before, I used to really blame my parents for bringing me here to the Philippines and just leaving me. They brought me here and then they left me here. They went back to Canada and they pretty much tried to teach me a lesson on how to be independent, how to do things on my own.
That was traumatic.
For me at that time, because I had nobody to talk to.
But when did you realize that that was a good decision?
Years later, I realized that, and now I take that into part. I don't think that I would be who I am now if it wasn't that decision that my parents, and I can tell as well that it was also hard on them. I mean, it's hard enough for me to leave my kids at school for like 3 hours. How much more my parents leaving me in a totally different country for 4 or 5 years and alone. At that point, siguro, my thinking was very one-sided and very selfish because like, gibiyaan ko sa akong parents, magrebelde ko, magbuhat ko mga bad things, magdinugoy ko. But then I started realizing that everything happened for a reason and everything made
the person that you are today.
Yeah. I love everything that my parents did for me.
It was all accepted.
Yeah. But the key factors that I'd like to give to my children is everything that my parents gave to me and more. Yeah, I was privileged because I was the only child. Everything that I had before, I'd like to give that to my kids in a specific manner. There are certain things that I'd like to do because what my parents did was they gave me all of these things that I was having to juggle around, right? Like from piano lessons to saxophone lessons to karate to everything. So everything was just
Until such time mo nakakabalo sa Pilipinas.
yeah, right. So that's why I want to specify with my kids that what you're good at, let's focus on that.
So it's really important na whatever your kids' choices are, you have to accept it.
Yeah. Accept and guide because sometimes they don't know what they want.
You have 3 kids, right?
Yes.
So among the 3 kids, nakikakakita niyo, he wants to follow your footsteps.
I think they all do because we try to influence them. As early as now, we try to influence them, me and my fiance, and they're very articulate. And I'm very proud of my kids because they know exactly, how to talk to people, when to talk to people.
But this is not.
I hate to say this because I know my fiance is going to watch this. What pisses me off is an unorganized house. Very, well, not to the extremities. Siguro kanang gusto gid ko na hapsay tanan. Gusto ko na everything is in this place, everything is kanang gusto ko like when I get home that everything is in its place and clean ang tanan. But I know that since we have a house filled with kids, that's never gonna happen. Me and my fiance, we take turns in cleaning the house, cooking, doing the chores. She tells me nga, sige ka, kung ingana gani, you're going to miss the days when our kids grow up na wala na yung mga toys on the floor, wala na sila nagdagandagan, wala. You're going to miss that. So might as well, right now, as early as now, since we're still here, since they're still here, enjoy it na lang.
Exactly.
Enjoy it na lang. I feel that. Yes, I
For the
cook.
family,
Yeah, I cook a lot.
what's the best recipe that you think when you do that for them makes your fiance, your kids?
Oh, everybody loves my spaghetti, right? So I do this killer Italian spaghetti. Ever since I was a kid, mo ginaang ako ang favorite food, spaghetti gid.
Let's talk about your fiance.
Yes!
How does she matters to you today as we speak?
Oh gosh. She is just an amazing person.
How do you imagine life? Have you not met her today? You were like,
I don't think that I'd be as patient, as soft-spoken, as more kuan ka na murag think first before react kung wala siya. I used to be very hot-headed. Like I would get pissed off like directly, and my words, especially since I know na grabe kay ko ka, I know how I can affect people with my words. Kanang sa una, kanang hait gid akong dila. Hait gid akong dila. Like the things that I would say, sarcastic, grabe ka, demotivating, grabe gid. Like if you said something to me that made me feel bad, I would say something 100 times worse to make you feel like that small. Wala sense of remorse. Pero now, she has really given me that change. She's put me forward into the light of being a genuine person. And then she was the one who's actually influenced me to be closer to God, to be a disciple, to be a servant of God. With her is that grabe, dagan kay change. So I don't think that if I was with her or without her, I would be like this now. Of course, there are gonna be times na away, there are gonna be times na disagreements and whatnot. Pero
But actually, that makes the relationship.
it does. We're finding a lot about more of ourselves and more
And the
about.
more though you don't have bumps with each other, the more your relationship gets boring.
Yeah,
The more your relationship gets superficial.
exactly. That's what we're doing, you know? So we like to explore
Did you
more.
search for her? Or she just...
Well, here's the thing. She was my crush. When I used to work for the entertainment industry before, because like after all the call centers and after all the I used to do branding and marketing for different clubs, for different places and stuff like that. I'd always see her because she's a model. So, and I was like, oh, wow. So, crush ko na ako na. And then I had a certain friend that he knew her as well. I'm like, ay, Lela sabi niya na baby. It just came to the point where we had a project with each other, and then
And you were both single then?
yes, yeah, we met. And then she showed some interest, and I showed some interest, and then eventually we became together. And despite the fact that she already had a child, it didn't bother me because I had a child as well.
It wasn't an issue. We are conditioned, nakita parents as we are. Mabuting time na our kids would separate from us, but not our spouses, but not our partners.
Yeah.
So how do you foresee life with your fiancé?
Oh, we're gonna.
Spending the twilight years.
Oh, that we're gonna have the best. We're gonna have the best times of our lives, especially now that we have been given a promise to a very beautiful life ahead. You know, especially the recent change of my career path. Things are going in a certain direction where it's gonna be good for my kids, and then when my kids grow up, you know, me and my soon-to-be wife will have a very beautiful paradise type of life. So it's gonna be nice. We're getting married this year.
I saw that post where you proposed.
That was
recent?
pre-pandemic siya. So we were supposed to get married like 2 years ago, but obviously the pandemic hit really
It
hard,
wasn't pushed.
so it wasn't pushed through. And then now
Finally,
we're doing it this year.
I wish you the best of life.
Thank you.
How is the wedding concept?
Oh, it's gonna be very simple, actually. It's gonna be a very simple wedding. Just a few of our close relatives, few of our close
Intimate
friends.
siya.
Very intimate.
Sa tanang journey nimo, idol, gikan sa pagka-DJ nimo, all that you've been through, what was the most fulfilling by far?
The most fulfilling, siguro is recently when I joined.
The one that you're doing today?
Yeah. When I joined Servant, why? It's because it got me really more closer to my relationship with God. All of the employees, all of the staff, all of the directors of this company, they're all, you know, on one mission, and that's a Christian living. They've influenced me to really put forward how I feel towards our Heavenly Father before anything else. And it's because of that it made life a little easier, less worries, made life better.
And lighter.
Yeah. When you have all of that extra baggage in your life and you're carrying that, and then you all of a sudden say, hey, I'm gonna let you have it, just take it from me, ikaw na bahala.
You were a DJ, you were a trainer sa BPO.
Yeah.
At this time, you are still bringing your voice to people. You
Yes.
still have speaking engagements.
Yeah. With Servant, I'm the marketing director. So everything and anything that I have to contribute to this company is usually comes with my creativity and everything like that. Aside from that, we also do special engagements speaking engagements with clients and whatnot. So that also enables me to talk to people. I still do events.
Do you believe your mission in this life, in your existence, is something that you have to bring your voice to people?
Yes.
When did you realize that you are gifted with the gift of communicating?
I don't want to sound, you know, over the top or bragging about it, but I also think that
You have what it takes if ever you will brag. Others, they're bragging, they don't know what it takes. So go ahead.
Sige. Well, I knew as well, like siguro bata pa lang, I knew that I had a certain mission and that would have to do with how I talk. Even when I was a kid, I would always be able to
your mind.
voice out, to speak my mind, to reason out, to make palusot, in the words of my mom. That's why my mom wanted me to be a lawyer. I think I knew from the get-go that I would be someone to raise my voice out to someone. But then it was actually a few years pre-pandemic where I was told by a certain palm reader, no, because wala lang, out of nowhere, psychic, that I would be speaking in front of millions and millions of people, and that would change the world. That would also change the entire, cycle of our lives. It's like, wow, that's crazy. And then it was so timely that a year after, when my best friend Sir Gary of Servant invited me to be part of this, and then at that part he was inviting me not to be the marketing director yet, but just to help him train individuals. And then he was like, "Bye, we're gonna be in front of thousands and thousands of people, so are you ready for this?" I'm like, wait a minute. Murag ka na palang daan, murag a year ago somebody told me that I'm going to be speaking in front of millions, and then now you're telling me to speak in front of thousands. And then now when we're at Servant and we're talking about everything, that our plans for our projects and everything like that, and we know we're going to go global, I'm pretty sure they're going to give me that task to be the one to talk to these people. So it all makes sense. I think for me, it's very simple. Life can be simple if you choose it to be simple. If you only trust in one person, one entity, and one being, and that is God. Trust everything in God, and everything will happen in its perfect time.
Nothing is impossible.
Nothing's impossible.
What's a song for life now as we speak that you would say it does a lot for you to be relating mo mga experiences whenever you hear that song playing, nakarelieve ka, there's a certain relief.
I would say Above It All. Yeah,
That's
that's a Christian song, a very beautiful song, because it makes you think that even if we're this small in our universe, we are a magnitude of greatness in His eyes. So above it all, we have to put everything, our worldly needs, we have to put our worldly requests above it all for us to be saved.
Who is our funk that your listeners or many listeners do not know about?
Our funk that my listeners do not know about. I'm a very simple person. Went through a lot of struggles, but then put my trust in our Heavenly Creator, and now everything is just simplicity for me. That's all that matters. Everything that other people might think I was, based on how it was shown through being a DJ, or how is it shown through being a soft skills trainer or communication skills trainer, that was just a facade. What I really am now is I'm just a person trying to live my life to the fullest. And on my last breath, that I did everything I could.
So, Idol, actually, takan tayo because
Yeah.
the interest of time. But anyway, thank you, big Idol.
Thank you, Gikayo. Thank you so much.
How important is it sa imo to share your stories?
I think everybody has to do that. Everybody has to share their stories, because in one way or another, everybody has an inspirational and motivational side of
Why
their
are some
lives.
people hesitant to share their stories?
Because they're scared to be
Kaya
judged.
judgers sila.
Pero sila mga judges po. I think they're scared to be judged. Because they know deep down inside that, like you said, yes, they could also be judgmental towards other people. That's where the psychology of it all comes in, is that kung sila, they are easy to judge people, that they feel that they will be easily judged as well.
So, kung ganyan siya na finalize na interview, ganyan siyang conversation natin, finally it's realized. And I do appreciate this.
Thank you so much.
I will treasure this and never forget this.
Salamat kayo.
This means a lot to me, Idol. When you really want to do things, you make time.
Yes.
And you just do.
Thank you.
Salamat din na lang.
Thank you.
Thank you, big Idol.
Thank you.
Continue your journey, Idol. Continue your fun. I wish you the best, especially on your coming,
Thank you.
tied up.
Yes, thank you so much.
I will wish you the best of life, the best in everything that you truly deserve for your family, for yourself, and of course to your soon-to-be wife.
Yeah.
The best. Di dapat ipagpasun. One sample, how do you feel that you
Oh my.
usually do sa Sunday solo?
Oh gosh. Siguro, one of the shows that was really popular before was Sandy's Slow Jams, my Sunday show that we would play all the slow love songs and R&B songs.
So how do you do that? Para
Oh, gosh.
millennials, the Gen Z could have the half of it.
Ang akong usual spiel siguro was Sandy 101, how your radio should be. This is Sandy Slow Jams, keeping it cool, calm, and collect all the way till 10 o'clock. Keep it locked in.
Continue your story to be beautiful because I know it is.
Salamat.
Make it more beautiful and continue to touch other people's lives, including mine.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to thank you guys for being here, for taking your time to come here as
pleasure
well.
is all ours.
And to all of the viewers right now, subscribe, hit that like button, and keep it going, Share this and share their channel. Thank you very much, John. But what good is a story if we don't share it to a lot of other people, right? So subscribe!
So I don't, once again, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm paying, take care.
Thank you. Yes.
There's a peace here that I can't explain. There's a rest here, even in the way.
Now everything is just simplicity for me. It's all that matters. Everything that other people might think I was, based on how it was shown, that was just a facade. What I really am now is just a person trying to live my life to the fullest. On my last breath, that I did everything I could.
You are burning all, it's you. Exalted God, it's you. And nothing in this world can take your place. There's a hope here that I can't deny. There's a power. There's a power when we lift you high. We will trust. We will trust. We will trust. We'll trust you. Oh, we'll just keep our eyes on you. It's enough to hold on to. We will trust, yeah. You are burning all, it's you. Exalted God, it's you. And nothing in this